If you have a multi-billion dollar now anti-smoking energy, what's the opportunity cost of that? What good could have been done with that, as opposed to the damage that's been done by it? That's always a question that's ignored. You say, well, we're going to do this, it's going to cost that. Well, wait a second. What's the opportunity cost of that? You could have taken that time and that energy and that effort and used it to do something actually productive that would actually be good for people, as opposed to something that merely strokes your ego and makes you feel like you're doing some good, when in fact what you're doing is you're creating divisions in society, you're creating measurable and demonstrable economic harm, and most importantly, you are attacking and destroying liberty.
I think what you're saying about presenting the facts to everyone, all sides of the story, so that people can make an informed decision is definitely important. Your facts coming to me towards the studies on non-smoking or secondhand smoke, although I think it's great that there are studies out there finally that have some sort of result, is great. But I think that personal experience will always supersede any type of study, scientific or not, done. Everybody's going to have what their personal experience of one thing is, and that's definitely subjective, and that will never change. I think in general, if the world were more transparent and it wasn't so money-driven, and you brought up pharmaceutical involvement, Dave, which definitely can also illuminate a lot to the government's decision to back that kind of an opinion, because if your pockets are being padded by people, then you're certainly going to take their money and take their opinion. I find it really unfortunate, as it makes it just all the more difficult to go through the millions of bytes of information that are available and decipher out of that what's truth. So it's definitely been interesting. There have been a lot of interesting points brought up, but I think the greatest problem with the concept of liberty is that the truth is so very unknown to us because of all of this politics, whether it's to our advantage or to our disadvantage. And I think that it's forums like these that are just going to keep people involved and keep people talking and keep people thinking, which is definitely the North America we don't know so well anymore.
It wouldn't be good just to think that something has a good benefit for you just because you have some craving or some desire for it. But, I mean, I am a smoker, and I guess I sort of do feel like that is the case a little bit. I mean, I'm more into science now. I don't really believe in intuition. I think it can throw you off as easily as it can lead you to a correct answer. If you have to take them with the whole package, obviously, you get all the cancerous smoke and everything with it, then it's an easy decision to make if it's healthy or not. But do you know of any benefits that you can say, in Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or memory improvement, anything like that you could say good about nicotine right now?
As far as scientific data goes, there was a study several years ago that found that anyone who had ever smoked for more than 3 years in their life, and it didn't matter how long ago, was 50% less likely to get Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. I think there's been some more research into it, but not a lot, because you have to look at who's funding most of these studies, and they're anti-smoking groups, and they're certainly not going to fund something like that. Usually when you do something like this, you look for biological plausibility. There have been a couple of other studies, and from what I've seen, it does seem to hold up. So nobody really knows why. Doctors are not out there recommending that somebody smoke. Although there have been a few doctors who said, if somebody's got Alzheimer's and they're in their 70s, since it takes 20 years for smoking to kill you, I might recommend that they take up cigarettes, which would really freak people out. I don't know if any doctor has actually said that or would have the guts to say that publicly. There is a benefit to smoking, and the anti-smokers will say, oh, it's terrible, it's an addiction. All smokers want to quit. The fact of the matter is, smoking is expensive, it is risky, it is socially less and less acceptable in more and more places. With all of those things going against it, people aren't going to say, hey, I want to smoke, if there is no benefit to it. You're not wired that way. You do things that you either get a real benefit from or a perceived benefit from.
The nation's anti-tobacco lobby won another victory today when Congress passed legislation restricting smoking within U.S. borders to a single room in Iowa. Traffic was backed up from Nevada all the way to Iowa as smokers tried to get to the lounge.
Move the car, you old!
Smokers from across the country are making the long journey to the 10x10 Smokers Lounge in Des Moines, Iowa.
I drove all the way from San Francisco just to sneak a smoke in on my lunch break. I'm supposed to be back at work in 10 minutes. It's a 37-hour drive.